What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Alpha Skies, and before we jump into the video, I would first like to say that shown by my YouTube analytics that only roughly 2% of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel. So if you're here and you do find that you enjoy this video and this type of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button down below, as it really helps me out a lot. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So we're going to be taking a look at a Void 3.0 build that I've currently been using that I would actually highly recommend a lot of players use. This build is extremely phenomenal. I wouldn't say it's a build that is super good on its own, even though it is extremely strong. This build shines extremely well, especially when paired with a lot of other OP builds, specifically with like Titans right now with their Stormnade builds, which does an absolute insane amount of damage. This build pairs very well with that for a couple of reasons. But before we get into the different things that we have equipped over here, let's immediately go and look at Void 3.0 and take a look at our abilities, our aspects, and our fragments first. For starters, I generally like to run Healing Rift. And obviously, if you want to use Empowering Rift, whatever it may be, these really just come down to personal preference. But obviously, you're going to want to run the Vortex Grenade, as we're going to pair those with the exotic Controverse Holds. Looking at our aspects here, you pretty much have to run Chaos Accelerant. Chaos Accelerant is going to allow you to overcharge your grenade, and it's going to make it more deadly and as effective. It's going to increase the size and the linger duration of our Vortex Grenades, which is why we are using this. And then the other one is personal preference. You can run Feed the Void for a little bit better survivability, or you can use Child of the Old Gods, which helps you a little bit more, grant more energy towards your grenades and stuff. If you need this little bit of energy, you can run this. Personally, I just use Feed the Void because I'm lazy and I don't like to switch between a lot of these in between activities that I'm running. Looking over at fragments, the first two of the three are pretty much essential. You have Echo of the Undermining, which is going to make it so that your Void Grenades actually weaken the enemy targets. This is going to do a lot of damage to targets, for one, because it's going to pull all of these enemies in with your Chaos Accelerant and your charged Vortex Grenades. As you can see, it pulls targets inwards and continuously traps and damages those that are inside. So having weakening on them while they're in there just simply takes all of those enemies that you've pulled together, and it makes your grenade do more damage, as well as everybody in your fire team does increased damage to them as well. So this is pretty much a must-have. Then you have Echoes of the Remnants, which just increases the duration of your grenades a little bit longer, which just essentially does more damage and allows that debuff to stay on the targets even longer from that point on. The third one is one that you can generally run whatever it is that you want to feel in this one. It is personal preference. If you are using a Void weapon, then you can use something like this, where defeating targets with grenades gives you volatile rounds to your weapons. However, personally for me, I just like to use Expulsion. That way, if one enemy dies inside of it, there's a chance it's going to kind of cause a chain reaction and just blow up all of the enemies on the inside of my nades and whatnot. So I like to use that because it just helps clear out ads a little bit faster. Another one that you can run is the Engine of Domineering, which is after suppressing a target, you get increased mobility for a short duration of time, and it will also allow your weapons that are in your reserves to be reloaded as well. So this one is pretty good, and it will give you 10 discipline back. So this is a choice that I think you can actually go for, as this one does reduce your discipline by 20. This is just an easy way to get 10 back. But again, personal preference. I personally just like to go with Expulsion to keep it simple, and because I don't like to change my fragments and stuff between activities, I'm pretty lazy. So I just leave this right here pretty much standard for any time I'm playing Void in general. Taking a look over at armor mods, there are a couple of different things that you can actually run for armor mods. So you have a choice between mods like Firepower or Grenade Kickstarter. They do have their trade-offs. Grenade Kickstarter, you don't have to put inside of your elemental slot. So inside of this, you could do, things like stacking Font of Might and whatnot for increased DPS, or putting high energy fire for increased damage as well. You basically have a lot more flexibility inside of these. However, the downside is that Grenade Kickstarter only goes onto arms, and so it only opens up that flexibility for your actual arm slot. Personally, for me, I like to go for Firepower, because this one is just going to consume a charge of your Charged with Light, and it's just going to increase your grenade energy that you're going to get upon using a grenade, and you're going to get a lot more grenade energy from using Firepower than you will with Grenade Kickstart. And Firepower is extremely convenient because it actually stacks on multiple pieces of armor. So I do run 3 of the Firepowers on my armor build altogether, because I obviously have to have an Elemental Ordnance and an Elemental Charge. If you are with a group that has a lot of Elemental Wells spawning, you can generally take off one of the Firepowers and substitute it for something like Seeking Wells if you want to kind of have a little bit more of a safer kind of play style. But I generally find that just running 3 Firepower is okay, and I can just go pick up my wells and whatnot, and I keep my grenades up a little bit more off than I feel personally when running firepower, but I do think it is a personal preference. And taking a look over at my exotic of choice, I do prefer the Controverse holds. I think these gauntlets are pretty overpowered. So whenever you are charging Void Grenades, you gain resistance to incoming damage, which is really big, and then your grenades, whenever they hit and they are damaging enemies inside of the vortex, it's going to start refreshing your grenade. So that paired with firepower, as long as you are charged with light and you're hitting targets, you pretty much keep your grenades uptime up 100% of the time between having the regen from your firepower, from the exotic itself, and then from elemental charge from elemental ordnance.
Thank you.